You should have the controls.
I do. Thank you, Brianna, and welcome, Chad. We appreciate you being able to join us today. And as Bree said, we are really excited about this product. Anytime we come across something that we think adds real, genuine value to Infor CRM and what you could do with it and what it does for your company, we just love to brag about it. So we've taken on this product as a partner for InboxGuru, and Chad is the founder of the company, so he's agreed to help me out if I get in trouble here. This is new to us, as I said, but we are using it internally at Customer FX. We have a lot of our customers that are very, very interested in it. And so it specifically, I guess in the market space, would compete with products like Sales Fusion, Acton, SwiftPage. Those are third-party email marketing solutions that have some degree of integration with Infor CRM. Now, what separates InboxGuru is that it's not an integrated product where we're synchronizing your CRM data out to somebody else's website and they're syncing data back. This entire solution is contained within Infor CRM. So it absolutely behaves as though it is a native part of the solution. You don't leave Infor CRM to do anything as far as administering the product or opting a contact or a lead into a marketing campaign or out of that campaign. And to me, that's really one of the most compelling reasons to consider this. Also, it is the most cost-effective of all of those solutions out there, and really does a lot of phenomenal things when it comes to your marketing story and following the buyer journey that we're all used to. So I'm kind of going to go backwards into this. I'm going to show you the results of what's happening because this system is using InboxGuru. So I'm going to kind of explain what we're getting as a result of using InboxGuru, and then we'll transition over into actually showing you the product and how to get marketing campaigns launched and out the door. So we're looking right now at a lead, in this case Andy Abernathy, and InboxGuru is writing data to the Notes and History tab. So what you're seeing here is all the information that is getting collected about this lead, such as he clicked on a link from an email campaign, he visited one of your web pages, and you can see he was on that web page for 57 seconds. We also get to see exactly what the web page was he was on. And here's another email click, another page visit, and then at the bottom here we have an email sent. So because Andy was included in one of our email blasts, the Notes and History is showing us that that is what happened. So you can also highlight the address that was put in here by InboxGuru and then go to that in a new tab, and it's actually going to show you as a salesperson, well, what did he get? What was in that email that he was sent, and that's what we're looking at here. So it does literally show you what he got. So when you're having a conversation about his buyer journey here, you can say, I see you visited this page. What do you think of that new product, kind of a thing. So hopefully that makes sense. So now I'm going to kind of talk about, well, how did this get here? Well, there's a new nav bar destination over on the left, and it's called InboxGuru. And if we talk about the web activity first, so they would be putting a persistent cookie on the user's workstation, and there's also code implanted on the customer's website that's tracking all of the web visits, repeat visits, and so forth. So included in InboxGuru, so it's not just about email, it's also going to be showing you traffic that's hitting your website and then writing that data back all the way to the lead or contact record that it's recognized as who that person was that visited the website. So that's part of the marketing story. All right, so that's the dashboard, and then on the web activity area, you're also going to get to see This is a play-by-play running list of who's on your website right now, and what is their email address. And if it finds a match in CRM based on that cookie, it's going to write that web visit data back to the notes and history for that lead or contact. So that's what you're looking at here. Okay, now one of the other big differentiators between InboxGuru and the other solutions I mentioned is, again, we're not pushing data and copying data out of our CRM over to somebody else's website and then having emails go out and information come back and then resyncing. So InboxGuru is actually utilizing groups. And so InboxGuru supports both ad hoc and dynamic groups. And everybody who's using Infor CRM knows how to build groups. And you know you can build groups on any data in the system. So as a result of that, you can leverage any data in CRM, including in your custom tables, to cause a lead or a contact to fall into a group. And so that is just a fantastic part of the story, I think. So if they fall into the group based on the query that's driving the group, they can get included in a specific email blast that you built to target that group. So an example might be all of my New York customers that bought a specific product from me, I want to send them a follow-up email automatically. So the users of CRM don't have to do anything because the groups are driven by the data story, which means perhaps Andy falls into that group, and because I built an email blast driven by that group, he's going to get the email saying thank you for buying product XYZ or whatever it is. Okay, so let's take a look. We'll go back to InboxGuru here. We looked at the dashboards. We also have the ability to have what are called personal lists. So personal lists are lists of emails that are not CRM records. So we're not restricted to being able to only send emails from my CRM leads and contacts. If I buy go to a trade show, get a list, or I buy a Hard Hanks list or Info USA, and I don't want all that stuff in CRM, that's okay, because you can add a list, import the CSV file, and then that can be used as the recipient list for one of your email blasts. And we also have landing pages, which we'll talk about toward the end here, but let's dive into the drip marketing story. So when I go into drip marketing, if I have the correct CRM role, I have the ability to create campaigns and edit campaigns and delete campaigns. I'm logged in as administrator, so I can do whatever I want at this point. I'm a user that has permission to get into this part of InboxGuru. So if we look at this particular one, let's go ahead and edit this campaign, and they get this neat graphical view of what's going to be happening here. And so it starts at the top, and this consists of two separate emails. One of them goes out immediately, the second one goes out 5 days later. And you have the ability in here by clicking on this little arrow to adjust how many days should I wait for number 2 to go out. And so if we drill into the email itself now, this is going to bring up the editor. And the editor is where you would build the actual email itself that's going out. And you can use the InboxGuru editor. It's pretty basic, but it gets the job done for a lot of the emails you're trying to do. But then you also have the option to import MailChimp templates. Now, why would they put that in there? It's kind of common knowledge that MailChimp has one of the best email designer engines there is, and you can get a free MailChimp account and build all the fancy emails you want over there in your MailChimp account, and then import those through their integration here. You can import a MailChimp template right into InboxGuru if you find that the built-in editor isn't robust enough, or it's not as WYSIWYG as you would like it to be. No problem. So don't care where it comes from. You'll also notice you can import HTML. So if you're using Dreamweaver or some other HTML generator, you can import that as well. So HTML, MailChimp, or use their own built-in email generator. Now, the other thing that you can do is it's going to be able to import Infor CRM Fields. So remember me saying earlier that the people who are going to be getting this email are based on a dynamic or ad hoc group in CRM. So as long as the field is in the layout for that group, that means that any field in the layout for this group is available to me to use as a merge form. Remember, I used the example of companies or a contact in New York that bought a certain product. So as long as that product is part of your group query and one of the columns, you can actually insert the data from that field into the email itself to personalize the email. So we support mail merging every field in CRM, not just some of them at the contact level. Every field that can be displayed in a layout can be one or the mail merge fields that are on your template. So hopefully you see the power of that, where this really goes quite a bit further than the other solutions out there. And of course, we have the ability to manage assets. There is an assets area over here on the left. So these would be all the documents that you would ever wish to attach to an email. But the way they do it is they don't literally attach a file to every email you send out. They send, it's a link to the file. So when you add an asset, and Chad, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's actually storing the file on an Amazon server. And then when the email goes out, it's going to show the attachment link, but then they would simply be downloading that file from that server. So it's not going to plug up their inbox with a bunch of big files that you attached. Did I say that correctly? Did you lose Chad?
I'm sorry, I was on mute. Yes, that's correct. So we'll attach it to the email as a link, and it's stored in Amazon CloudFront, and you'll get it as a regular attachment.
Yep, perfect. I love that part of the story. We can also send a test email, as you would imagine. But what's neat about it here too is, if I wanted to send this, I can send the email to myself, so I can make sure it looks the way I want it to. But what's cool is, as long as you pick one of the email addresses of one of your contact records that's in that group, it's actually going to send you a test email, but merged data from the contact that you put in the test merged field. So you get to see real data from a real contact to make sure everything is working the way you had hoped, but it gets sent to you rather than that person. So again, I think they did a great job of making that work in a very logical way. Okay, so we'll do one more thing here. We'll return back to the drip campaigners, and I'm going to show you a much more sophisticated version. So the first one I showed you had 2 sequential emails, one that went out and one that went out 5 days later. This particular one is considerably more complex. This is just to give you a sense about how much logic can be applied to a nurture campaign. So this has yes-no logic as part of it. So an email can go out, and then we have what's called a decision point, and yes or no, depending on if that decision was satisfied. So we can click in there and look at the logic. And the logic is, in this case, if they open the email, I want you to go to the left. If they didn't open the email, I want you to go to the right. So you have the ability to add conditions which are either anded or ORed together, which means they either have to satisfy one condition or the other, or both conditions, before it makes a decision whether to move them to the left or the right. So a very sophisticated decision tree logic is built into the system if you want to take advantage of that. And so this carries on, depending on if I went left or right, and then there's more decisions happening along the way. And then this also has an action type to it, this blue box. And so the action is, I want you to do something, not just move them left or right on the tree, but I want you to actually do something. So this particular action is saying, well, if this guy got this far and he said unsubscribe me, we can actually have two actions happen as a result of that. One is an email gets sent to the account manager in CRM that said, you know, Chad just unsubscribed from that email. Okay, but it also can update a field. So we have the ability to add an action that changes data in CRM. And so in this case, an email gets sent to the account manager and the lead source field is equal to do not solicit. And so that's just done by this add an action button. And here's your choices about what you can do there. Update a field, add them to a drip, add them to a list, remove from a drip or a list. Okay, so let's go back here, and I just want to show you one more thing here, and that is if we add a drip campaign, so just build a new one very quickly here from scratch. So if I was to click on add a drip campaign, we'll give it a test, say CFX test, and we can pick the template we want to start from, and if we want to have merge fields, we'll call it a transactional. And now, when I get to the list name, I'm actually going to be looking at all of these groups that we've created in Infor CRM. So now you're looking at all of your lead and contact groups. So you can pick whatever the group of records is that you built, remember ad hoc or dynamic, and everybody in that list is going to get enrolled in this particular email campaign. All right, the other thing we can do here is sync the campaign lists and choose the time that that happens. We can also pick, now Chad, maybe you could explain better than me what the sync option means. I don't want to skip over that.
Yeah, so the sync options are very important, especially when it comes to dynamic lists. So as you know, dynamic lists are queries and will pick up database changes when you run the list. So what's neat about InboxGuru is we will go out to that list every so often based on your options of polling it hourly or daily, and we'll run the query and see what recipients are currently in that list. We'll then compare that to our drip campaign, and if we see anybody that's net new in that list, we'll add them to the drip. And conversely, if we see people that have fallen out of the dynamic group, we'll unenroll them from that drip. So that's a very easy way just to make sure that dynamic list is always in sync with your drip campaign.
Perfect. Next is we get to choose how many emails are going to be part of the series. And it's okay if you just pick 2, but decide later you want 3. So just to get this thing started, we'll just say it's just going to be 1 email. And then we can ask it to either send the email from the account manager of the lead or contact in CRM, which means that these emails are going to appear as though they came from whoever the account manager is for the contact or lead in CRM, or we can have it come from a common email address like customer support or sales@customerfx.com. So it's your choice where the origination of the email is generated from, and that's what this is doing. So I've named it, gave it a list, told it whether or not to keep the dynamic list updated or ad hoc list updated for me, and now we can say create the campaign. So it is kind of a wizard-like interface, and now you're seeing the familiar screen we looked at earlier where at this point I can pick, well, how long after I activate this campaign? Maybe I want it to go out on the weekend. And this is critical because, for example, this webinar today, each of you received an email from CustomerFX out of our InboxGuru, but because this is happening today, Brianna made sure that the emails that went out were tied to a specific date and time. So as she created this series of emails, each of them getting progressively closer to the date of today's webinar, she would choose the specific date and time that this email needs to go out. And then the opposite of that is just a time interval, which means we're not really promoting a specific event that's tied to a calendar, but we're just saying, every 30 days, let's say we just want to keep in touch with our customers, we can say every 30 days you know, we want this email to go out. And this only has one email, so 30 days from now, this one's going to go out, but maybe if it was two, you'd wait another 30 days and have a second one go out, that kind of thing. And you can also say do not send it on weekends if you want to make sure they only get it on the weekdays. Okay, so once we're here, we can do what we saw earlier. That is, we can go in and edit the campaign and make our changes as you see fit. Okay, well, Chad, what I'd like to do maybe is show them, and again, you're certainly more experienced at it, can do a better job of explaining how to look at the results of the campaign. Is that something you could do if we passed you to the presenter? And then I'd like you to cover the landing pages if you would.
Yeah, certainly. Go ahead and change it over to me.
All right. Here we go.
Okay, and I've got multiple screens, so which one can we see?
I'm seeing a blue desktop with a bunch of icons right now.
Okay,
there we
how
go.
about now?
You got it. You got it. So I'd like, if you could, show them what I missed, and that would be, how do we know how the email is performing?
Okay, yeah, so basically you drive back down into the email. So I'll just edit this EU mailing list. And you see that we have two email blocks. So to get the statistics on the email, I simply click in here and say View Email Stats. So here we can see how the campaign is performed overall, and as well as on a day-to-day basis. So here we have 86,000 members, and as you can see, all the normal email stats such as clicks and opens and complaints are here in a quick to easy to read dashboard. We also show the last 100 transactions, and you can export all data, including bounces, unsubscribes, and deliveries using this button. And then over here is a day-to-day chart. So since we're actually pushing this email out in a synchronization fashion where we're checking the groups every so often, you see that this actually has volume over day-to-day basis. The other neat thing to do is I paused this campaign for demo purposes, but you can drill into each one of these blocks to see who is waiting for a decision within that block. So if I go to manage the subscribers, I see the list of people who are sitting here waiting to get this email. Now the execution date is back in November, so this pause are not going out, but this gives me the ability to show people who are sitting in a wait stage. Let's say that we wanted to take this person and unsubscribe them from the email. We could do it right from here. We could place them on hold or start them over or even release them right now. Another cool feature is we can jump to that CRM card directly from here. So just by clicking on this, it'll open up that CRM record. And then again, here's the history for that person. We also have overall drip campaign results. This shows you how the entire drip campaign is doing, so it combines both emails in this case. And we have 118,000 people that have gone out. Okay, Scott, I think that's about all you may have missed on the drip email marketing. So would you like me to go ahead and get into the landing pages?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so landing pages, we have a few different options for our customers. We support 4 types of landing pages. One type of landing page may be perhaps you have your own HTML or WordPress, so we support the ability to be able to inject a form into a WordPress site. We have our own designer. We have integration to Unbounce, which is a leading landing page company. And then we also support the ability to have a REST API, which is if you want to have your IT department collect information on a form and then pass it to us, we're able to interact with that as well. But all 4 of those interactions for our forms all have the same first page, which is to create the new page. On the page name, we'll just say demo, and then we can pick our page type. So in this instance, I'm going to pick Page Designer, which allows us to have kind of a WYSIWYG designer for designing the page. The notifications are who do you want to get a notification once this landing page has been completed. A list name, so you can put somebody into a list name. And what that's going to do is obviously store it in a separate list for you, but if that list is tied to a drip campaign, which in this case it is, then that person will be enrolled automatically into a drip. So perhaps you have a contact us or register for a webinar. You can immediately have a thank you for registering email go out from our drip designer. Now, one thing that's unique about us is some people do not use leads inside of Infor CRM. So we have the ability on a form-by-form basis to specify whether you want us to create a new lead or to create it as a contact. So let's say that you have a contact us page, you want to create them as a lead, but you have a partner registration page, maybe you want to create them as a contact. And perhaps you want to just do a survey, you could just say do not create at all, we just want to collect those statistics. We also allow duplicates or not duplicates. And then we can use assignment rules. So we can use the default Infor assignment rules to create the lead or contact, or we can just specify a person that's already in the system. So that's all you do to fill out the basics of the landing page. Now I'll just do a next step. And here you'll see a very similar thing from our drip designer. So if you learn how to navigate the drip designer, you'll be able to learn to navigate the landing pages pretty easily. We have a start, we have a form. So let's go edit the form. And for now, we'll just do a template, which is a contact us template. And in just a few clicks, we've created our first landing page. So this is a first name, last name, email address. I can do a quick preview page, and voila, I've got my landing page. Now all this is already set to go straight into Infor. And you also have an option to pull data out of Infor if you want to pre-fill these fields. So if a person's already been cookied and you want the first name and last name to automatically come into the system, you have that option as well. We support several different questions. So if you wanted to do maybe a star rating, and you can say, that's the question you'll ask. You can map it to an Infor field. And then here's the options that you can use for defining the scale. So now I've got a rating control, and if I want to move that down, that's the button. Now I've got first name and what is your rating. So let's see how that looks. So very easy to build a survey or any type of form collection that you want to use in the system. And again, all this will flow back into Infor. Just like our drip designer, you can get this a little bit more complicated. We can add an action after this, which would be a decision. And maybe, oops, I changed that to the wrong thing. And so maybe we want to ask a question. And since I just ruined my form, I had to back out of this. So here in the decision, we can say, perhaps, does your phone number begin with? And now you can tree branch your decisions and perhaps ask another set of questions or have a different landing page. So that's the form designer, and just like the drip designer, you can have as advanced logic as you'd like to here. So one last thing I'll point out on the landing pages is the WordPress integration, and this is probably our most popular one. We'll just name this WordPress. And we'll select our fields that we're going to collect. And now you simply take this script and you copy and paste it into WordPress. And just to give you an example, this is the InboxGuru Contact Us page, and this was script we just simply copied and pasted into the WordPress. What's neat about this is we don't have to worry about the look and feel of our page. We just have to worry about the WordPress style sheets, and the form will overtake the style sheets. Okay, Scott, that covers landing pages if you want to dig back down into it.
Well, the one thing I remember you telling me too, Chad, is that in addition to the WordPress integration, I can actually create this as an iframe. So it doesn't have to occupy the entire page of a website. It can occupy a portion of it as an iframe that's embedded.
Yes, that's correct. So we can just go change the type in here from Edit Page Properties. We can change the type to an iframe. And now when you view this page, you'll have everything stripped out from it and look like something you can throw into an iframe.
Yeah, pretty cool. Well, I'm thinking that's everything we were hoping to show today. We've gone a little longer than we normally would, so I guess I'll ask the question, Bree, have we got any questions from anybody so far? And if we don't, go ahead and ask your questions. We'd love to field those for you.
Well, we do have some questions, and Chad, are you ready to provide some answers?
Let's do it.
All right. Does any of this data write to Infor marketing or campaigns and campaign responses?
Okay, the answer to that is no. We're actually writing all of our data over to the contact or lead history. But Scott, you actually had a good scenario about how you would use marketing and marketing campaigns in conjunction with InboxGuru. Do you mind covering that?
Yeah, so here's how we actually use it, and this is how I recommend it to our customers is, as a salesperson, I need to be able to easily add a contact or a lead I'm staring at, and I want to be able to easily enroll them in one of these marketing campaigns. And we thought of a really great way to do that. So if you were to go into marketing here, Chad, I actually created one in your demo. And so if you were to go into campaigns, as a marketing person, I created a campaign called InboxGuru because I want to start to track at the campaign level what's happening with these leads and scores and so forth that are coming back. So we have a campaign called InboxGuru. So now if you were to go to a lead or a contact, just pick one. And as a CRM user, if I was to go to the marketing tab here, down below, if I add a response, which I did, called InboxGuru, so if you hit the plus sign, we'll just show them how easy this was to do. So let's say I want to enroll this guy. I'm staring at him. I know he wants to get my stuff. All I have to do is click on that campaign magnifying glass in this response and do a search and say, that's the one I want him to be enrolled in. So by me doing that, he is now in the group because it's a dynamic group. He's been added to the group that's tied to the marketing drip nurture campaign that my marketing team designed for me. So that's the only thing I have to do to immediately enroll somebody into one of the InboxGuru campaigns. That's it. I don't have to know how the group works. I don't have to deal with ad hoc groups and trying to add them manually. That's it. So as long as I know what the campaigns are doing, I can just go add the response here under the marketing tab, and he's in. So hopefully that helps.
Our next question, actually, I'm going to combine two, and that would be, is it available on LAN and web clients, and what version of SalesLogix or Infor CRM is required?
Okay, so let's take the version first. The versions are 7.54, 8.2, and 8.3. And the question for the LAN and web clients is kind of a mixed yes and no question. Obviously, we support the web clients. The LAN is a little bit different. For LAN, we can support LAN, but you're not going to have an InboxGuru menu system inside of the LAN. You'll actually have to install the web bundle through the web client and then associate the SData URL to our system, and then you'll come into an application separately like this that you see on the screen, which is very familiar to what you see inside of the web-based client, and you'll be able to do the drips, templates, and lists just like you would from inside of the web client. But all the data back and forth, being able to talk to the dynamic list, all that stuff is available for the LAN client. They will just have to go to a web-based client to do that. So I hope that makes sense.
And I'll just add to the story is that every customer that is on 754 LAN or above owns the web client. And so what that means is maybe your marketing people who don't really need all the customizations and things that are in your LAN, you can still put the bundle in and just tell them what the URL is to go to their Infor CRM web client and use it exactly the way you saw us use it today. So for building your templates, managing your templates, looking at your reports and all that, you own the web client whether you use it or not. And as Chad said, all the same data we looked at the beginning of the presentation is going to be there whether you're LAN or web. So it's all kind of the same story.
Right, and I use both. So obviously when I'm creating and sending emails, I'm working within the web client, but when I'm in the LAN client, I see all the activity that has gone on with the campaigns that have gone out.
Exactly.
Our next question is, can the feedback do not solicit be specific to a table to manage subscriptions?
The answer is yes. And so how that works is you would set up your columns within a lead or a contact, and let's just say that's a checkbox column. And then you could build a form using InboxGuru to map to those columns. So if you wanted to build your own form to say, subscribe to newsletters, subscribe to a daily feed, subscribe to XYZ, just by clicking those on and off, you would be able to update the Infor CRM. And then, of course, using the dynamic groups, you can build those columns into the query to specify whether or not they should be getting those emails.
Great. Our next question is about email templates and wondering if you can import constant contact email templates in addition to MailChimp.
So we do not have the import constant contact feature that you would see like we do with MailChimp. What we do have is you can, and we do have some customers coming over from Constant Contact, they actually take the email, they take the HTML of the email and paste it directly into our system. It is a lot more manual effort, but we do not have API access to Constant Contact.
Are surveys included in this version?
Yes, they are. So we cover the forms and surveys module, and the surveys module can get as complicated as you want to in questioning and really doing progressive profiling based on how they answered the previous form.
Okay, our next question is, does the person who creates the campaign drip nurture have to be the owner of the groups?
They do not have to be the owner of the group, but the person creating the drip nurture does need to have access to see them. So that would be, and Scott, you may want to talk about this, but you just have to go share that group to the person that's logging into the application.
That's right. Yep.
All right. Now, I will ask this one too. Is this product available in the UK?
Yes, it's available in the UK. We are supporting 3 languages right now, Spanish, German, and French, I believe it is. And we do have a data center in the EU, actually in Ireland, because we're hosted on Amazon, so we can support the need for having the data contained within the EU.
Great. Our next question is, what is the cost model for this product?
Scott, would you like me to cover that, or do you want to cover that?
Yeah, go ahead. It is sold through business partners like Customer FX, but Chad, you could speak about the 3 levels of pricing and what's included.
Okay, yeah, so like Scott mentioned, we're going through the partner model for this. The cost model is not based on the typical thing you would see from other marketing automation systems. They typically charge you on the number of contacts and leads, and that's because they're actually having to do all the work of syncing that data down into their systems. For us, we do not sync or store any of the contacts or leads or even the dynamic groups in our system, so we're not really worried about the number of contacts and leads you have. So our cost model is strictly based on your email volume. So the starting cost for the application is $500, and with that you get 10,000 emails per month. The next level up is $1,000 per month, and you get 100,000 emails. And then the next level up is $1,500 a month, and that's for 200,000 emails. Anything after that, you just call to get a quote, and we'll give it to you. And most of those modules contain everything you've seen today. The lower module at $500 does not include the ability to have what I would say is nurture campaigns, which are the decision trees inside of the drip campaigns. Other than that, everything else is included in the $500 level.
Great. I have two more questions sitting here. One of them is there any data in responses or just in notes history?
It's just in the notes and history. We're not writing anything back to responses.
All right. And the last question is a little off topic and might be something for a future webinar. And actually, I'm going to bump that to the side and we'll get to a couple of these first. You state that mail merge is available for every field in the contact table. Is it possible to use opportunity fields?
Yeah, so the merge field is not, oh, go ahead. Do you want to take that one?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, and that is absolutely one of the differentiators here I mentioned before, is that any piece of data in any field in any table that can be joined back to a contact or a lead can be one of the fields that's considered in the group and used as a merge field. So we are not limited to just contact data. As long as it can flow up or down through a join that lets you build a group on that data, that can be data that's included in the nurture campaign, and including custom tables and fields.
Yeah, I would say the limitation is not InboxGuru. It would be anything that you would do inside of an Infor group. So if you can go into an Infor group and in the layout tab, anything you can bring into that layout tab, you can bring into InboxGuru.
Okay. Our next question is, if email is being sent from our server or Office 365, will these not get blacklisted as spam?
So that's a great question, and we do get that question quite a bit. We are not sending out emails through your servers. That is one of our key things about our company, is we're all about the email sending, the IP reputation, the domain reputation. So the emails are actually going out through our servers, and we handle the IP warming and all the logistics around sending IPs and collecting all the data back. So you don't need to worry about anything going out through your servers.
Okay, and now we're back to that question that I said might be for a future webinar, and I'm not sure if you'll have time to really explain this too much, but what is Sales Pilot?
Yeah, so that probably is an entirely separate webinar. Sales Pilot is an engagement tool for salespeople. So what we're allowing people to do for Sales Pilot is to create their own independent flow of how they want leads and contacts to be contacted. So if you can imagine that a salesperson has people coming into their My Leads dynamic group, those will be fed into a campaign such as send them an email, place a phone call, send them another email, make a decision if they open that email whether or not to make another phone call or to send another email. So what we're doing is we're taking kind of the drip and nurture campaigns down to a specific one-on-one interaction for the salesperson. So that's a lot of words and it's a lot of stuff to cover, but we probably should have a follow-up webinar to discuss that.
Great, thanks, Chad. That concludes the questions. So, like I said, that's it for the questions. However, if you go and talk to some of your coworkers, or you're sitting there later and something comes to you, please, don't hesitate to email